Good afternoon, friends. Uh, to whichever parts of India you belong to, hearty welcome to on this online lecture on marketing presentation. And in this run that we had right from the beginning till now, as far as marketing presentations were concerned, we have come to the fag end of it. That means that in this coming 2 hours, what we are going to do is we'll kind of handpick few sample case studies and see we will integrate the learnings right from the earlier lectures and pull it together under one umbrella so that we learn the matters very readily. And that means that in any marketing presentation, students, it's very important to understand that we build a case, and case by case approach is one of the finest methods by which we can really understand the nitty-gritty of marketing presentation. And till now, whatever we have covered in terms of marketing background, be it in terms of strategic management, be it in terms of product life cycle, we have seen in terms of how to market a product, what are the tools available, how we also integrate the recently developed tools in terms of marketing, be it the social tools, also the digital marketing areas as well. So first, we will what we are going to do is we'll build a few case studies. So we will discuss in the coming 2 hours around 12 to 15 cases from different bandwidth of spectrum available, so that we look into these marketing presentations. So first of all, why through a case study? We need to understand that why we are trying to understand marketing presentation through a case study. Now, if you are a student doing your MBA, or even if you are a working professional, we need to understand that we can learn anything by first sorting it out, building a case. What we are doing by building a case is we are highlighting a focus, we are having a focused approach about it. So when we are dealing with case studies, let's look into first how to build a case study. Now, it could be part of your examination, it could be part of your submission manual, or if you are working professional, this is important because if you are making a presentation within the organization, this will really help you in terms of organizing your presentation, your thought process, your modules, and the way you are going to approach about it. So how to answer case studies is what we will look into. If you look into the slide, case study method places student in a simulated business environment. Now, as a student, what we are trying through case studies is we are getting a simulated environment. And what does simulation mean? Simulation means look-alike. It's not an actual business environment, but it's a kind of look-alike environment or a made-up environment similar to what the actual environment is. It substitutes the student as a business manager who take decisions. Now, students, let's also understand that in these times, decision making is a great skill to have in a repertoire or in a kitty, because good effective managers do that very efficiently and effectively both. So if you want to make good decisions, it also means you need to have a good build up to it. That means we should have some logic about the discussion. That means before developing a logic, we should have some database about it. So before going on to the database, we should have sources to procure data or to gather data. For that, we need good networking in terms of where to find the right data from. So it's a whole process about as far as case study development is concerned. So students will develop the ability to take decisions as well because what is happening through case studies is we are putting things in perspective. That means we will be looking maybe an organization, maybe a function of the organization, and gather data and put these things. When we gather and analyze the data, then go on to analytical thinking. Based on that, we make correct decisions. That's an advantage as far as case studies is concerned in real-time scenarios when you go on to work in an organization, or in your case, you might already be working for an organization. So when you are developing case studies, you are also developing skills of your critical thinking. Now, when we say critical thinking or analytical thinking, that means what we are doing is we are gathering data, looking at the data from a different models that are applicable from the point of view of what you are going to do with the data. Now the data could be on, maybe you can apply the model of Pareto's rule, you can apply the cost benefit ratio analysis, you can apply the field force analysis ratio, you can apply various models based on the fact that what kind of outcome do you want. Now if that is designed, then you can really pitch in a particular case based on what kind of outcomes do you want. If you'll find no case will give the student all the information required to take a decision. Now, students understand one thing in life, that at no point of time you will have all available decisions. That's for sure. Because in the world that we are living in, you will always find the plentiness of resource available. So not necessarily that you will have all kind of data available with it, but you should check, are the critical data or the important factors are there with you as far as your data procurement was concerned, and based with that data, which might be limiting in some sense as far as the context or content is concerned, based on that, what kind of decisions you are going to do is also a skill and an art and a science both. So students have to take logical assumptions. So suppose if all data is not available, then sometimes we have to assume things based on whatever is available. So assumption comes into force. Most of the cases are answered by a way of class representation and written reports. So whenever you are procuring data, you can categorize the data based maybe on historical account. Maybe the data is based on absolute statistic by numbers of, maybe a number of employees, or it could be the potential market. Now, when you are factoring or gathering this information, the data, all the data that you want might not be available. That is one. Two, there might be a chance that the quality of a data that you have gathered for the case might not be very accurate. It might be an approximation. So even if there is an approximation, you have to assume, and as good potential building managers, what we need to do as students is assume, and based on the assumptions make decisions. And also when we are presenting a case, these other skills that are tested also are presentation skills and the report writing skills as well. Plus, when you are making a case study, now when you are making a case study, it could be in front of 3 people, 4 people, 6 people. So there are listening skills are involved about it. Skills in making objections. So suppose if you are making a case study, some part of the audience or somebody in the audience objects to what you have to say. So how are you going to handle the objection handling skills is also part of it, and skills in defending one answers. So if you are a marketing person, you need to able to defend your point as well. That means that you have to put across your case in such a way that you neither hurt the sentiments of people, but yet you are able to put across your point through the spectrum is important. If students learn through the case studies, they should attend and days the presentations are made effectively participate. Understand that if you are making a case study, first of all you should have a robust sources in terms of data gathering, and then before presentation you have to kind of fine tune it, streamline it in such a way that it's more presentable. So it also means that you are making a good PPT or PowerPoint presentation. You are doing good embedded link up to visuals or maybe to videos as well. So there are many ways that a case in a marketing can be answered. We would discuss one common framework for answering marketing case studies. So few of the things that we will look into in our case analysis would be, first, forming a basic idea of the case, number one. Number two, problems and opportunities, means as an organization or maybe as a product, what kind of challenges the organization is facing and what are the opportunities that the company has yet not explored. What is stopping them to explore, or what is required to go to the higher level. Generation of alternative answers as well. Evaluation of alternatives. So what kind of alternatives are there? Number one, what could be actually implemented is also to be seen. A decision to be taken. Now based on this, decisions are taken based on what kind of outcomes you want. Now you might ask, why are these case studies presented? Now as a student, if you are presenting maybe in an exam or maybe as a submission, case studies first gives an insight of the organization. That's number one. You get to know about the organization, what kind of sector it belongs to, what kind of turnover the organization does. You also get into some nitty-gritties as well in terms of which markets they are operating, where have they got opportunities, where are they doing well, where they are yet to explore. So these are the facets that we will also explore in our examples of case studies as well. So when you say analyze and form a basic idea of the background of the case, it means that when we will look into case one by one, we will look into the nature of the industry, means what kind of industry the company belongs to. The historical settings, means the background in terms of number of years of establishment or maybe in that particular domain. The management structure about it or the hierarchical structure. The corporate culture about it, the staff relations, market share and status in the market, customer analysis, the products offered by the company, the demand, the growth rate patterns, the stages of the PLC or the product life cycle, maybe of the product or maybe the company itself, the nature of competition, the macro factors of the environment or maybe the micro factors as well. So when we are saying analyzing the background, it all covers these elements. Then we will also find out the symptoms. Now when I say symptoms, it means facts given in the case should be reviewed well. It has to be seen in which context, from where is the source gathered from, making effective analysis of financial and other quantitative information as well. Make responsible assumptions when you are making in any context. Now, making assumption is also a skill, because not always assumptions that you make or propose might be accurate. To start off, any assumption is approximation. Now, when you're making approximation, you need to be clear about what kind of approximation and what scale of approximation you are making. Find out the symptoms of the problem or the problems. Analyze symptoms and find out the basic problem or problems. The theoretical explanation could be made based on the assumptions or the symptoms. Develop alternative solutions to problem. Now, if there is a problem or a challenge, what kind of alternative solutions do you have to address that? Be open about making a critic on alternatives. Now, when you're presenting a case of the company, you can always play a role of a critique or a devil's advocate, as we more commonly know it, as pick up one thing which is out of the box kind of thinking, which nobody has ever thought of. For example, Apple. Now, everybody, when we speak of Apple, think or speak of Apple, or generally also in other areas of life, we always think of inside out kind of drive. Anything to be related from inside to out. But if you see the Apple phones, now it has come to a watch. So when we speak of watch, people began thinking about why it has only need to be inside out, why it can be outside in. Now when you think of an outside in kind of approach, you will find that that's where Apple watches came into existence, where the watch became the phone, or phone became the watch. So when you change the angle of your perspective, you change the subject itself. They say that the object and the subject have to be looked into relation to each other. So whether you are looking from an inside out kind of angle or an outside in kind of angle, changes the scenario. Discuss the pros and cons of alternatives. So if you're proposing an alternative, then discuss the advantages or disadvantages of it and propose a clear decision. Now, end of the day, any case study, if you're presenting as a student or maybe a budding up kind of manager, we need to have good decision making skills. And let me tell you, if you want to grow up as a wonderful manager and a leader, decision making is critical, because not when you make all generally when people don't make decisions, for the simple reason being they wait to make a decision and they wait and they wait. So when they want to make a correct decision, and to make a correct decision, they don't make a decision only. And not making a decision is also a decision. Have you got that? I repeat, I said not making a decision is also a decision. A lot of people in their own lives think about making decisions, and they keep on procrastinating it or postponing it for a long time, based on the simple reason that maybe they want to take accurate decisions. Let me tell you, friends, as manager or in life, at no point of time you will have the best data available. You will always have some limitations, maybe in sourcing, maybe in the quality of the data or the data itself. So you will have a limited choice, but in spite, that is one aspect to second. We'll be running against time. That means the time available to each individual to make decisions will always fall short. Based on that small timing, we still need to make a decision. Now, when we say making decisions, it means that we need to make decisions on these available resources. So, any case studies we are presenting, decision making will come in very clearly as well. Great. So with this in background, let's take up our first case presentation. Now this is an interesting one as well. Now we will be discussing around 12-15 kind of case together, and all are from diversified segments. We start off with the coal FMCG sector, that's about Parle G, and we have referred to Parle G in our presentations as well, but this time around we'll make a few cases as well. Now when we say Parle G, it's a household name. Everybody knows what Parle G is all about. So when you're making a presentation, number one, they have always sold as a product Parle G, where G stands for genius, and this is a child image that we can't ever forget because it has been there for years together. So when you look at Parle profile or Parle company's profile, which belongs to the FMCG market, one, company type, it still is a private limited traded company, not a listed company to say so. Industry, biscuits and confectioneries, founded in 1929. I mean, that's something. Now when you say 1929, that's good 85 years, almost 85 years the company exists. Founders being the Chauhan family, headquarters being in Mumbai, and areas or the topographical spread is global definitely, and the products, the prime flagship brand being Parle G. The other major brands in the kitty is Monaco, Hide and Seek, Melody, Poppins. Oh, how we can forget Poppins, Crack Jack, and revenue touching more than 8,000 crore rupees. So this is what the overall profile of the organization is, Parle. If you check into the history of the product, this is a 1929 small company established by the name of Parle Products, emerged in British dominated India. That means it existed before independence. The goal was at that point of time to spread joy and cheer to children and adults alike, where all over the country with its sweets and candies. Now a small factory in this direction was set up in Ville Parle, a suburb of Mumbai, to manufacture confectionery products. Now since the company was set up in Ville Parle, which is a suburb in Mumbai, in the western suburbs, which is very close by from where I'm delivering this lecture, around 235 kilometers from here. So when we say the name itself Parle comes because of its location of Ville Parle. Milestones, if you go on to see the product, the decades, we'll go by decade because the 85 years long history. Number one, 1929, the first year of operations. Parle assets were hard work and hope. Absolute hard work and determination is what the organization represents for. A decade after, if you see, 10 years of determined effort brought results. Things began to take shape and they tried even harder. 49 post-independence period, they were the formative years were over, and Parle has really come of age when you see the independence period. 74, the first evidence of what Parle is all about of today. The original Parle company, in the due course of time, split up into three separate companies owned by different functions of the original Chauhan family. Parle Products, led by Vijay, Sharad and Raj Chauhan. Owners of the brand being Parle G, Melody, Mango Bite, Poppins, Monaco and Crack Jack, where you have the Amir Khan advertisement for Parle G. Great. Then if you also see the best part about it, if you see the last point mentioned, 38% share of the total biscuit market is by Parle G, which is a significant chunk, a big chunk of their organization. And let me tell you, one important facet about Parle G is they are the largest selling biscuits across the globe. I repeat, they are the largest selling biscuit company across the globe by volume. That means the actual number of biscuits that they sell is the highest across the globe. The other players in this segment being Britannia, closely followed by 26%, ITC and other few small players like Priya Gold and the local players as well. Great. The first brand, if you say, Parle Glucose and Parle Monaco were the first brand that were highlighted by the organization. Parle products also has about 10 manufacturing units and 75 manufacturing units which are on contract basis. So 10 manufacturing units are self-owned, which are pretty big, one being in Ville Parle itself, and 5 different manufacturing units for confectioneries as well. The annual turnover, as I mentioned, as of 2014 is close to 8,000 crore rupees. That's roughly around $1.5 billion company. Their vision and mission. Understand, when you're presenting any company's case, it's always good to mention what is the company aspiring for in terms of their mission and vision. So the mission statement is, it is to concentrate on the consumer taste and preferences. The Parle brand has grown from strength to strength ever since its inception, and that we all know that you go to any grocery shop across anywhere, you will find that they are there. That means you will always find a Parle G, be it a stationery, be it on the station, a tea stall vendor, be it a small grocery shop in the bylanes of Shimla, or in small villages of Kanyakumari. So across the length and breadth of the country, this brand had made its presence as well. The vision of the organization, Hindustan Ki Taakat, is what their punchline and tagline has been for over 80 years. Now, since they know that G for genius and G for glucose, and glucose represents instant energy, they are saying Hindustan Ki Taakat. Now, Parle G has been a part of lives of every Indian. Now, everybody who has brought up in India knows what Parle G is all about. From a snow-capped mountain in the north to the sultry towns in the south, from the fronticity to the laid-back villages, Parle G has nourished, strengthened and delighted millions and millions of people in India and across the globe every day. That means for many people, students, you might be ordinarily knowing it, for many people it's a breakfast for them. They have Parle G along with tea or maybe a Monaco, whatever the case might be. The entire range, and the range itself says so, right from Parle G, the Milk Shakti, the Crackjack, Monaco, the Digestive Mary, Hide and Seek, the entire basket of Parle products. Few other products in confectionery, that was about biscuits, but how can we forget the Mango Bite? Mango Bite, when it was launched around 10-15 years back, it was a big hit, and Poppins, right from our childhood, which exists for close to now 50 years, the Kiss Me, the melody, a melody where Every brand also has a separate tagline. For melody like Khao Khud Janjao was always a tagline. Poppins, do kya? We always remember that. And Mango Bite, Aam ki rasili goli, enjoy very slowly. Or the tangy tomato, must buy. Or lychee flavored bar, the kiss me one. Or the mush chips, the entire the bandwidth of the biscuits and the confectionaries put together. So if you see confectionaries include the Parle G, the Milk Shakti, Parle Magic, Crack Jack, Melody in confectionaries, Orange, Musk Sixers as well. Okay, the sister companies that are associated with Parle G as the company has evolved, as we have mentioned, is divided into three groups, the Chauhan family. The Parle Agro is another part to it. This is Parle Products, which has the Parle G. When we speak of Parle Agro, it is led by Prakash Chauhan and his daughter, Sauchna, Alicia and Nadia, owner of the brands such as Fruity and Apple. We get to know this picks as well. So Fruity and Apple are the well-known brands. Or the young CEO of the Parle Agro, Sauchya Kumar Chauhan, is also part of it, where owners of brands such as Fruity and Apple are there, the entire range of it. Or the third group, the Parle Distillery. When Parle Distillery, led by Ramesh Chauhan, were entirely demarcated into other segments of water, because at that point of time, if 30-40 years back, if anybody would have told that water is going to be sold in India, nobody would have believed it. But today, it's history. Like you have many brands, and in this run, Distillery has led the way throughout. Then along many players come in of PepsiCo, of maybe of Kinley and Bailey and so on and so forth. But Distillery bottling plant first gave a doorway to sell water. Now, new concept, because when people propose this thought about selling water, especially in India, 20-30 years back, people would have gone nuts when you have heard that for the first time. But the Parle guys and the Distillery people understood and made sense of what they were doing. And that's the reason some people, this is about the past, but some people, when you're thinking of critical decision skills or assumptions, we can easily assume on one point that you will not be surprised 10, 20, 30 years from now, even air would be sold. Yes, air would be sold. That means it could be in terms of oxygen cylinders or whatever, just to make it more oxygen available to houses. And when you are hearing this concept, you might think, that's a crazy thought. Yes, at this point of time, it really is a crazy thought. But since air, we are assuming that it's there in plenty. Yeah, it's there in plenty. But in terms of oxygen, it could really be sold. Maybe it could be the next big thing as far as after selling water is concerned, because it's one of the other limited resources. So when we say water is available, but purified water is what Distillery got the idea from. So when we say, yeah, air is available, but purified air means oxygen is what we are talking about. So when we do a SWOT analysis of the organization, means strength, weakness, opportunity and threat analysis of the organization, this comes into picture. And this is a very, very interesting slide. If you see the strengths of the company, Parle as such it has a large market share. That means in an FMCG like market, especially in biscuits, if your market share is touching 40 or anything about 35, that's a major chunk. Although you are there in the industry for around 80-85 years, but still regaining 35% market share is huge. It's some size. It is established as iconic brands. It's not about just building brands. The brands are really big. When you think of things like Parle G, many organizations turnover doesn't match the brand size. It's huge. Low pricing has always been their strength. Now, even if you see the world has moved around in terms of pricing in all other sectors, the pricing of Parle G has by and large remained the same or a very marginal increase over a period of even last 50 years. And that has been the key strength. That means they are available to a wide cross section of people, right from the people who are economically could not afford the brand. That's about one, pricing. Second is about extensive distribution network. Now let me tell you, any new company who wants to market their product in India, their dip test or their benchmark is, especially in terms of if they have a retail kind of product, FMCG kind of product, their benchmark is Parle. Because the kind of penetration it has inside, you figure out any grocery store across the length and breadth of the country. It's very difficult you will find a grocery without a Parle G. And not only you'll not find, you'll have a major showcasing a big shelf size and a big shelf depth as well of the product. So that means that they have an extensive distribution network, and that has been a major strength. That means the kind of distribution channel they have established over a period of time has been phenomenal. This is a strength that the company works on, or it has a strength. Areas of development or weakness that the organization has: number one, it is perceived as a low cost, and low cost sometimes also mean low quality product. Need not necessarily mean, but we have understood when we are discussing cost and price. Cost is the actual financial cost of the product. But pricing, if you recollect friends, when we are discussing pricing are perceived value. That means they are not the actual value, they are perceived value. That means what the customer perceives the value to be is the perceived cost. So when a cost is low, people can tend to think that the quality is low as well. So which is a weakness for the brand and the organization. Two, it has not much evolved with time. Now when we say evolved with time, yes, it has built on strength, but the other areas that it has not worked upon is the niche segment or the cream category, which the other companies are ruling the roost. Say for example, Britannia or ITC have been very specialist players when it comes to targeted markets, be it the cream market or the niche markets. So based on this strength and weakness, what the opportunities the company has got is there is a scope for premium product with increasing purchasing power. Because what has happened is, yes, Parle is providing products to the lower bracket of the customer. But how about the bracket which is there above? That means the bracket which can afford the product. Now, affordability also means that they will think that the low price is a low quality. So what a company could think in terms of providing different kind of product or different bandwidth of product to these kind of customers. Growth in diet segments with increasing health awareness. Since diet is one segment, that's why Britannia has roped in with their Mari biscuits. So for Parle, that's an area because a lot of health awareness has been generated over the years in terms of balanced diet. So yes, Parle also has launched a product of Britannia Marie, but it's a long way to go. It could also think in terms of opportunity, in terms of introducing new flavors. When we say flavors, normally Indian flavors that are available always in the biscuit category started off with orange, which was the highest seller as a flavor in the biscuit category. The other flavors could also include flavors that were never tried and tested before, is an opportunity as far as Parle is concerned. The threat means what are the certain things that the company should take care, otherwise it could pose as a real threat or challenge to the organization. The threats are, if you look at the bottom right of your slide on that block, large number of competitors making entry in market. Now this has been an era where competition grows, almost doubles every 5 years, whichever segments that you are catering to. So when you're saying competition doubles in every 5 years, that means there are a large number of players available in the biscuit category, be it the bigger ones that we mentioned about Britannia or ITC, but there are also smaller local players as well. Like could be a Priya Gold or very small local players which are very good in their local business. Second threat that the Parle as an organization has is dominance of local bakeries in rural areas. Now, not all local people will go and buy the biscuit category or confectioneries from the brand. They might, I'm saying, go on to prefer the local bakeries. So when you say place like Mumbai, the local bakeries made Mirwan sells in cake category, in biscuit category, cookies category, or even confectioneries. So the local cake shops or bakeries have also started eating up the market share. The surging manufacturing and handling cost. Now when we say Parle's biggest strength has been two, one is cost and two is networking. Now if cost is their biggest strength, the company also need to understand that the overall pricing in all across segment has gone up, be it the manufacturing cost, the employment wages, the infrastructural costs have gone up. So to match that along with still keeping lower margins would always be a challenge for the organization. So looking from the SWOT, we'll also look into a few other things as well, like we look into the marketing strategy. So if this is the SWOT available, the initiatives that the company has taken as Parle in marketing strategies are target young generation, because Parle is primarily sold to a bandwidth which is already grown up with Parle or already in the higher brackets. School going children could be targeted. Associate various government initiatives like the primary education scheme. It could be the National Rural Health Mission Centers or the midday meals being served in primary schools. To sum it up then, as far as Parle G is concerned, would be first step to believe that it's possible to enter as well. Just hold a while till I align the slides. Okay, so when we are looking at the various initiatives that the organization has taken so far, which has been phenomenal, and few things that the awards that the company has received in the period is since they have entered at the food competition in 1971, the brand has received consistently 111 gold and 26 silver and 4 bronze medals for quality awards at the World Quality Selections and Standards, and they are they are ranked 7th in the Brands Equity's Most Trusted Brand 2012. So lots of awards and prizes, be it for pricing, be it for standard specifications as well. The marketing network, if you see, of the organization, there are 1,500 wholesalers, 4,25,000 retail outlets. Wow, that's phenomenal. So when you say 4.5 lakh retail outlets, that also means that India has this much outlets, because none would have been missed almost. Great. And also the import-export scenario of the organization, that means, yeah, major parts of the globe are covered, as you can see from the site. Sales and turnover in 2014, Parle products sold. When we say Parle products, we are referring here only to the biscuit and confectionery. They sold close to 6,000 crore worth of the flagship glucose biscuit brand at a retail price. 6,000 crore only of their Parle G flagship brand. Now, this means that the sales of more than 100 crore packages or packets across sizes every month, or 14,600 crore biscuits in the entire year, that is 1-to-1 biscuits each for the 1.2 billion Indians. That means that's a huge size. So 100 crore packets being sold, it's roughly one person, or one packet of biscuit of Parle G to every person. It's huge. That's some size. The infrastructure, if you see, of the organization, apart from the original factory in Mumbai, Parle, the manufacturing facilities are available in Nimrana, that's Rajasthan, Bangalore, Kutch, Khopoli, that's in Maharashtra, or Bahadurgarh in Haryana. So a lot of manufacturing facilities. Record behind numbers, if you see, phenomenal growth across the same period. ITC Sunfeast brands too has over 9% market share in the glucose. So if you see, the major chunk in the glucose category of biscuits has been close to 35-40%. A clear-cut winner across. Graphical records, it has been steadily rising over a period of time. And when you see of Parle G, we can say few things very emphatically about the product. One, Parle is the largest selling biscuits across the globe. It is the best in its quality. It has a reasonable price, and for all those Parle took #1 brand place in the world, and that's also a pride moment as well for the country as well, where a biscuit manufacturer produces the largest number of biscuits across the globe, and this record is still intact for the last many years put together. So that's about Parle G. So having Parle G with chilled water or hot tea, whatever the choice may be, it's always there with you. Great. And references that we have procured this data from Times of India, the Google, and various Wikipedia sites as well. Great. Let's look into the case, some of the different case, a different one. So one, we start off with Parle G. We'll now move into a relatively older version, but still this is interesting. That's the reason I picked up. That's about Kolavri tea. Now, Kolavri tea became a phenomena. I would call it a phenomena. Although this happened 3 years back, around 4 years back, 2012, if I'm not wrong, and went on to become a big hit. Now, this in itself is a case, and we need to understand what were the reasons behind it. So, if you went to this forms a case of a social media marketing case study. So if you see the background, first Kolavari D as a song comes from the movie, that's movie 3. Now 3 in the 2012 Indian Tamil romantic psycho thriller, film directed by Aishwarya Dhanush, who made her directorial debut in this film, and it stars Dhanush obviously, who co-produced, and alongside was Shruti Hassan, as we all know, or if you don't know, you got to know. And the film gained high anticipation due to the viral marketing of the song Why This Kolavari D. And this was the tip of the tongue, and obviously any song is a fad, but the kind of waves it generated across was really a sensation. It was 3 as the movie was released in March 2012 to mixed reviews, ending up to an average grosser as a movie, I'm saying. However, the audio of the film was a great success, and that's the reason I picked up as a case study. Although normally what happens, the film does well, the songs also does well. But there are very few examples where the film does pathetically poor, but certain songs, and not all songs, this one specifically made it a big hit. So when you speak of the film as such, it is written, directed by Dhanush. Key achievements of the song, first to highlight: 1, the song has got more than 4.1 million views in YouTube. Now, 4 million views, big, really big. The song is trending on Twitter in India hashtag Kolavari. The song was shared by more than 2 crore people on Facebook. So those time when it was circulated, it was kind of a viral thing. Almost all the radio stations or all the radio players put it on the #1 song list for a major chunk of time. It was the first Tamil song to be aired on MTV. That's also an interesting feature. In fact, some celebrities or popular channels who added a value to song promotion, making it to the reach of thousands and followers, were Amitabh Bachchan, Anand Mahindra, NDTV, singer Shreya Ghoshal, actor Vivek the comedian, Madhavan Trisha, and many more were part of this success saga. So when we say 4.1 on YouTube million, if you see many likes on Facebook, covering on leading newspapers, many went on to say it could be a new national anthem for the youth in India, representing the vibrancy and vigor of the youth, and it was really viral. When even certain comments, for example, Anand Mahindra tweeted that, and going viral in India is now cola viral, and now it's a synonym for cool. So it started to become synonymous for certain things as well. So we just say, we didn't say it's cool or chill out, we say it's Kolavari. So that's the kind of strength, and also being related to Chanakya's chant of the week in print circles. So why this Kolavari? So, or it could be also in terms of the cartoon pictures as well. So it has actually, what has happened, it has penetrated in all cross sections of things. And there was also a time when flash mobs as a concept made it big in India. So flash mobs, the first element what flash mobs give is an element of surprise, because when flash mobs are when people gather together in a public place, and maybe in this case they started singing the song and even the dancing as well, as you can see on the slide. Now these are instant kind of grab which people are tuned in, which people like about it, and people people are also for it. So flash mob as a concept is part of the marketing, and it really made it big, especially in this context. So what is this virality factor? Understand, friends, in today's world, if you are in the marketing business and if you are not digital about your marketing, then you will not go too far. That's for sure. Because when we are going digital across, that also means we need to be viral. It means we need to address to wider cross section of people. Viral means it goes on social blogs, it goes in social networks, and kind of spreads across very fast. Initially, the video communicated as lift video from Sony studio. Then, as it became catchy and addicted, especially the foot tapping beats were phenomenal in this song. The lyrics of the song is in English. That's the interesting part, but sung in a Tamil style, which when we have all heard the collaborative, it's sung in a Tamil style, very much understandable. The lyrics in English. The video of the song is very casual, expressions and smile, which actually shows they are sung from the heart. Actually sung from the heart, where even the rhymings are done intertweet between as well. Also, movie marketing strategies involve social media from day one. It involves flash mob at different locations in India and international, got more people engaged in the song, thus viral factor. Many people were engaged in the song as well. Now, when we say collaborative, we need to understand that this case I particularly picked up, although this was a 2012 kind of phenomenon, but this was the first time in India when we observed two, three things happened first time. One, the way it went viral, it was one of the speediest, or really it kind of went across all social blogs and networks with great speed. Number one. Number two, this was also the event where we saw flash mob as a concept picking up more popularity. These days, when you're sitting in 2015, we find, yes, flash mobs are being used intermittently by different people as well. Great. Now, talking of digital and social media, one more case we'll take up, that's about Skoda case study. This is interesting. Now, here, if you see, every case that we're discussing are at a different level. One, the first case was about the organization, and then we saw the background, the SWOT as such. Then we saw the collaborative and when we say collaborative, it's a concept, it's a song. So, and still it's marketed. So we will have different aspects in the cases, and you'll find that to be interesting insights as well. When you think of Skoda into manufacturing of four-wheeler business, as we all know, that's where the Streisand effect is what it came highlight as. So what is that Streisand effect? Now, Streisand effect is an internet phenomena where an attempt to censor or remove a piece of information is there. So then what happens because of that? Case study about it is Mr. Harish Kanchan, there was one gentleman, has been fighting with Skoda for the last 1 year. So let's understand what was he fighting for. Now there was a Skoda dealer in Mumbai called as Numerins, which was earlier, the showroom was in Mumbai, the Jodha Road, which has replaced various parts of his car. His car means Harish Kanchan's car, to the tune of around 14 lakh rupees during servicing. So when he sent his vehicle to service, various parts were replaced, and Harish followed up with Skoda India management, who in turn tried to stop Harish from going further on this issue. Now, Harish, what he did was he first approached the District Consumer Forum, that was the legal pathway that he followed, which gave an interim ruling ordering Skoda to release his car repaired to its international standards immediately. That's what the District Commercial Court ordered for. The case continued. What Skoda in turn appealed this decision and took it to the State Forum, which stayed the release of his car. That means the car was not released and the case is pending. Now during this time, now this is where our case becomes very interesting and robust and really juicy. Harish posted these entire details on teambhp.com. Now, what is this Team BHP? Now, Team BHP is a website on car reviews, which receives more than 500 replies and 60,000 views in less than a month's time. Now, Skoda finally realizes this and actually threatens Team BHP. So, once Skoda got to know this, they actually threatened the online portal Team BHP and their users with legal issues. Now, Team BHP moderator posts the entire threat mailed by Skoda and started another discussion about it. This post on the forum received 1,300 odd replies and close to 1 lakh plus views in just 10 days. Result, what was happened during that period is, Skoda in short have lost a lot of potential customers during that period. Instead of accepting the racket, apologizing to the public and coming clean, they have now landed in a mess, which is going to take some serious cleaning up. And users are talking to each other about this incident and purchase decisions are based on this conversation. That's the power of social media. I like to put up this few conversations that Team BHP's online portal has. The website has close to 40,000 users and most of the car and bike users use this. If you see on this chart, the left side pop-up, it's mentioned here correctly that I will never buy a Skoda. This is what the people mailed across. Or Skoda dealers change things. Or Skoda dealers changes parts in my car part. Consumer court, car not returned in a year. And what happened is Skoda dealer changes parts. That means this is the small gist. Find a gist that this is what Mr. Harish has written. So the review on Harish along the fix of faulty parts that I'm fighting for my Skoda for the last 1 year now. You may be aware the dealer in Mumbai name is Ames has replaced previous parts in my car to the tune of around 4 lakhs. Now they have stolen the third injection and the steering rack, whatever the details are mentioned, and they did not spare the battery either. So they have mentioned it and also followed up with the Volkswagen group as well and the other groups as well. Now, in this context, what Skoda had done a threatening mail to the Team BHP. Now, BHP also put across their blog on the website that they put few facts. Fact number 1, if you go one by one, a few things. Team BHP is built on the principles of truth, honesty and transparency. Let's look at a fact 2. It mentioned that Skoda offers what is possibly the absolute worst after-sales service in the country. Emphatic statement. Fact 3, what it mentioned is, member Harish was and been an unfortunate recipient of Skoda's appalling standards of service. Fact 4, instead of apologizing and making up to its so obviously wrong customer, they continues to fight back as well. And fact 5, if you read, Harish turned up to Team BHP for support and posted the entire thing on the website. Now, the result, what happened because of all this? With around 40,000 registered users on teambhp.com, they created negative publicity of Skoda those time, influencing decisions of the buyers by word of mouth. Even print publications like Mumbai Mirror, Midday, Times of India, Maharashtra Times, Navbharat Times, Hindu, etc. also carried this story. Numerians lost its dealership of Skoda in the process. Sales also declined during that phase. Now, the Skoda story also tells how much of importance it is to manage the social structure or social websites, because people and consumers are related very closely as well. That also means that if you are an organization and without getting into the nitty-gritties of it, consumers these days are connected very intricately. Gone are the days when people never used to know what's happening in other part of the country or other part of the globe or other part of the city as well. Since people are connected intricately through social blogs or social networks, this kind of misrepresentation of facts or the way they treat their customers could be spread viral very fast, and the companies need to be aware about it as such. Now, why we are discussing this in marketing management as a case study is because you as a student or potential managers to be marketing managers need to be aware that customer is a king and hence need to be dealt with sensitively. You can't be very dogmatic in your approach or very harsh and unkind in approach to your consumers, because they get linked up or ganged up very fast. So when you're working for organization, you need to be aware about these dynamics as well. So let's take this interesting study, and this is a very interesting case study and you will love it as well, I'm sure. Aircel case. When Aircel was being introduced in the country, and more so they launched their service of their mobile company, the service operators of mobile. Now, let me give a brief background about what is being said, the case study. The Milan subway, which is a subway, a part of suburbs in Mumbai, is apparently a history of flooding during monsoon season. If you are a student based in Mumbai, you know it that very well, that Milan subway is one of the subways that get clogged every rainy season or every monsoon season. Now, just for students who are from other parts of the country or other part of the globe as well, this is part of a small subway where people normally commute through either their four-wheelers or two-wheelers. They tend to get water lodging every time. Now, so Aircel, which was trying to introduce into the segment, they launched in Mumbai a mobile company betting on almost sure thing. Placed a billboard at the station with a real rescue tide boat to its logo, and the tagline was, "In case of emergency, cut rope." So I'll give a pictorial view as well, but just to tell what it means was, they actually put across a live boat on a hoarding and said that in case of emergency, cut the rope. On July 15th, 2009, the bet paid off and the station was flooded. It means the subway was flooded. Aircel staff wearing tees with the company's logo was on a hand to cut the rope on offer emergency transport to standard commuters in full camera view of it. To give, like for example, the hoarding. This will give an exact story of what we are talking of. So if you see a few days back at the Milan subway, This is what the hoarding said. If you see the hoarding, closely look at the hoarding. This hoarding is what we are speaking of. Now, it says that in case of emergency, cut the rope. And this is the actual lifeboat they have put it. And this is an ASL advertisement. This is the different angle of view about it. So they always said, in case of emergency, cut rope. This is what people who were commuting as well said so. So history repeated every time rains comes by. So on 15th of July, it rained, and it rained heavily. Subway, the same subway, if you see in the picture, is seen, and it's all waterlogged. That means it becomes a swimming pond. Now, water is there everywhere, as you can see in these images. And now if you see this statement, the rope was cut. That means the case of emergency, cut the rope, means they actually cut the rope, and that's what they depicted in the hoarding as well, which is part of their marketing strategy. And people were looking at where the boat went by, and here comes the boat, and this actual boat that was being shown on the hoarding as well as an image, and the boat was having the same color as what it was seen to be found everywhere. The solution and CSR, or corporate social responsibility, was seen, where people were using aircell boat, and that's what they called it as well. And the boat went in to rescue or to transport people from one end to the other, and this was of great service to the people around. So they made people reach destinations as well. Right from in the picture, if you see under the bridge as the aircell boat was traveling, trying to rescue, and finally everybody was talking about was aircell. That means Times of India mentioned that Mumbai wades on the wettest day, or aircell did what DMC did not. Midday News, also few others, Mumbai interrupted, and monsoon keeps government on the edge, and there was a lot of write-up on the aircell boat. Now the result, and that's interesting, and that's why we took it up as a case study, was the company received a real bit of hero press, and was even held up in the example of the government agency BMC on how to prepare for an emergency. We all knew that this was going to happen. So the question was, what was the government doing in that scenario? So it's also about being awareness of what's happening around. It was almost guaranteed the subway station would flood, and leading to stranded and distressed commuters who would be willing to get in the boat and be carried to safety by men wearing SLTs. So this was part of the plan, and they knew it was going to happen. So what good leaders do in marketing was prepare a plan accordingly, and this was an action plan as well. So with all the media present, the story could not be reported without the mention of aircell, and the images show these customers that the brand cares, and it's always there for them, even in the times of emergency as well. Major achievements, if you see, the aircell prominent in all media coverage was there. So when we are speaking of the internet revolution across, this also marked the entry of aircell in Mumbai with a big bang. The PR agency prepared a presentation on the same and mailed to friends, and also uploaded on online forums as well. Aircell did not just advertise happy to help it, showed this in their actions as well. Aircell initiatives are also seen on Google as well. If you see the first pick of it. Mystic times. In case of emergency, cut rope, says Aircel. Or life-saving advert boats. Aircel billboard saves people from so and so. And whenever you are putting up your case, you mention where are your references coming from. Where is your sourcing? So it could be Google, it could be blog, it could be Twitter, it could be images taken up from websites, whatever. So interesting, and that's what the case was all about. So different case, right, from Parley products or Parley G to Colavri to Aircel. Let's move on to something else. Mobile marketing case studies. Now, these have been case studies since we are living in an age where things get spread so fast. It's important to understand how do we pitch in as far as these cases are concerned. So, when we say of mobile marketing case studies, let's take some international cases as well in this regard. So, one, the Red Cross. Now, Red Cross, we all know, has been in service for helping the poor and the needy or distressed. Now, goal in this case was to raise as much money as possible for those affected by the devastation in Haiti. This was the objective or the goal. Now, in a recent campaign, the Red Cross was able to raise close to $50 lakh for Haiti. This was done, and this was the interesting thing, it was done by making use of text messaging. Now, it's not only that it has to be a Facebook or only a social media cover, it could be a mobile network, as simple tool as a text message. It is estimated that there are 270 million people in the United States standalone with their own cell phones. To date, this has been the most effective SMS campaign done by any NGO or a charitable organization. Now, even though the concept was simple, no great thought about it in terms of conceptualization and creativity, but the point was to network it, to implement it, to execute it was the key. Now, although the concept was simple, the Red Cross need help to put the campaign into place. Now, so it is known that text messages get opened up by the majority of people. The beauty of any text message, people normally open it. And this is one of the components that make SMS campaigns so successful. This could not be said of an email. Now, an email, a lot of time, people don't open it as well, the communication. So with an SMS, normally people have to open it because you don't get to see what it's all about. So you know that your message will be opened and read for sure. The reason this campaign worked so well was due to the nature of the text message, means the way it was drafted and crafted. The message was simple way to donate money. There was no writing a check or going to a local bank. It was all done via people's cell phones, quick and easy. So there was no need to, when we speak of donation of money, a lot of time a hindrance comes in terms of how to transfer check or maybe an online transfer. So it was all interrelated to a service provider by just through a mobile. The majority of cell phone users are younger and hold current jobs. People from all walks of life were made aware of the severity of the situation. Reaching so many people from diverse backgrounds found those that had money to donate. So that means it could be as simple a case, but using the medium here was the key. That's about using text messages. Now, text messages are a very simple format and tool of a mobile application. Now, although it's a text message, the beauty about it was it reached out to many millions of people in the US for donation, and yet that every message need to be read out. They could go on to read what the message was all about, and that's an interesting feature. Let's take another message, another case in terms of the mobile marketing. That's about Barack Obama's campaign years back, 3-4 years back. If you say goal in this case was to identify new voters and persuadable voters as well. So that is one segment that they were what the campaign was looking forward to, was to take in the new generation who are eligible for vote or who are just being eligible, both. Now it is most known that most elections are won by fewer than 10 percentage points. Because since in US we have a two-party kind of segment, and since it's a two-party segment, the margin of vote through history it has been found is less than 10%. So the name of the game is to develop and find a way where the 5 to 10% of people can help you swing a vote in your side or in your direction. This is exactly what President Obama did in his last campaign. The smartest thing was by using a text messaging campaign that Obama was connecting with the young people of the country, many of whom had not yet even been registered to vote. So the SMS campaign was used to do in various ways, and those were: one, to remind the voters to get registered to vote. First, once they were in that bracket of the voting age, they helped them make a register to the vote. People were asked to provide their zip code so that it could be facilitated more smoothly. State by state reminders for people with details and the cutoff dates were declared and facilitated, which was a kind of guiding kind of process. To remind voters that they can mail in their ballots as well. That means they not only were approached through mobiles, but there was a backup in terms of mailers were also given, so that it becomes a very much foolproof kind of plan. To invite people to local campaign events as well. So to facilitate the process, in case of this case, the local camps were also being organized, where this entire process could be facilitated as well. To send reminders, now this also topped it off as well. Local reminders were given on that particular day as well. So what happens is, if a youth is given this kind of hand holding right from the beginning, he is kind of sold in for a concept. That means, first of all, they have made their registered user being easy. That means they have working for their convenience. That also means that they are looking up for possible action as well. Now they say that the first impact is generally the impact that lasts. And that is precisely the reason people can't forget their first love, or their first teacher, or their first boss. So these things remain by. So what this case signifies also is the first kind of touch that they were giving to the youngsters or the youth to come to the main foray of the voters group. So in this case, we saw that even it could be through cases that people can approach the youngsters or the youth, and if that's the case of 5 to 10% shift, it could be done. Then the British Airways mobile app campaign. Now in this campaign, the goal was to promote their executive club mobile application. Now in this executive club mobile application, what they're doing was, the British Airways wanted to promote the Executive Club mobile app. Now, this app allowed the members to manage their accounts, reservation, and access real-time flight information from all their mobile devices. So they wanted to download this mobile app so that they could get a real first-hand information about their flight details. It could be about timing, it could be about discounts, it could be about hotels, it could be about tourism, it could be about travels. All things get aligned. The mobile campaign was meant to target members of loyalty club and get them to download an app. That's what the objective was, and the result of this campaign was 250,000 downloads of this app was done by members, and that's huge. And when we are saying this, that means that British Airways decided to run a mobile campaign to reach their members. For this type of campaigning to be done or successful or to be optimized, mobile emails allowed users to access their inbox no matter where they were traveling on a given day. So they were able to access the emails as well. This email was targeted and to the point, as was very sharp, specific, precise. Someone with an iPhone would receive information about the new app and would allow them to scan their tickets versus printing them out. It showed examples of what the app could do. Now, few things that were of value-added services. Now, in marketing, value-adding service is damn important. It's not about just about services. Value-add apps is what customer wants. So that's where the concept of discounting began, sales began, or 1 plus 1 began, or 2 plus 1 began, 2 plus 1 began. So the value-add service in this case was find arrival and departure times. 1. It was checking their flight status. It was performance their check-in as well. It was find arrivals, news from the British Airways. So all of these were factored in the process as well. Great. We move on to the next study, and this is an interesting study as well. This was a PepsiCo PepsiCo group, and the objective in this study was different. And the objective over here was to help streamline the lives of busy females by offering them a mobile app. So if this was the objective, let's see and check the background first. If you see, the Pepsi first came out with their mobile app to help promote their Propel brand of sports drink. Now, this has been streamlined into a shopping app that has been directly aimed at the busy woman in the age category. Now, we need to understand when we are going through the cases, there are smaller, finer details as well, which as a student you need to understand. Now, in this ad, if you see, their focus group was very clear. That means they knew who their customers are, or they wanted to be. 1, they needed a busy woman. 1, 2, they also knew what the age category would be. When we say busy woman, working woman, then obviously the working age, 25 to 49. Beyond that, normally women don't tend to work or leave the work pretty soon. So, as students, we need to understand that as marketeers, we need to identify that we should know the target focus group as well. The mobile app is based on the Google Maps systems and allows the user to enter all their daily codes and tasks. That means this app makes the user much more friendly as well. The mobile app works into your iPhone as well and suggests the easier route to get your next appointment. That means they work as tool managers or time schedulers, or I would call it alignment schedulers, where they can align the task in such a way that becomes very easy for the consumer to track it down. Now, if you see, to market this effectively, Pepsi combined forces with local businesses in 6 major categories. So Pepsi knew that they can't go all alone or solo. So they tagged on some other companies or other functional domains as well, so that it becomes very easy. One, they looked into industries like travel, well-being, food, home, shopping, and organize. For the future, Pepsi is looking for using barcode advertising as an additional mobile marketing to enhance their branding to reach more customers. So when you say barcode customizing has been the part of digital wave. So we have a lot of QR codes these days. So you just on a mobile and a smartphone, you just need to scan your QR codes, get the website data or the address. It could be the cinema hall tickets, it could be tickets of your grocery, it could be the gift vouchers, it could be anything ranging in that. But the point is that these are the times when mobiles are start entering the life, so that it becomes much more smoother and better as we go by. Another case we'll check in from the international data is about General Motors and Chevy. Now, interesting combination, different combination. So here, symbiotic relationship is the key. That means we might be from different industries or even from same industries. Is it something there that we can combine together and check what matters, what doesn't matter? Today they say it's not a world of cooperation standalone or a competition standalone. Today the more talked about word is collaboration. We need to collaborate with people doing certain skills or tasks in such a way that the work that we are doing becomes easier, smoother, and better, because any organization can't master in all areas of their function. They might be masters in particular bandwidth, or it could be particular zone, or maybe in particular area. So the times are such that organization need to collaborate with people as well. So when we say the goal is to build awareness of the two new vehicles, the Chevy Volt and the Chevy Cruze, this is what the objective is. Now, recently, Chevy was a sponsor for the South by Southwestern Festival in Austin, Texas. Now, the problem was neither of these two cars were available in the show. So, both of these cars were being used for the test bed of their mobile marketing. So, they were not available because they were used somewhere else. Now, Chevy looked up with a geo-based firm called as Goala and decided to test how many people would interact with different brands, and that's very interesting as well. So when people arrived at the Austin airport, they had to be Goala users. They received a message from the Chevy welcoming them to the area. That's one thing to start off with. Chevy randomly chose user to receive a free ride in the Chevy vehicle. The Chevy also set up walking tours of Austin, and users who checked in certain points that could get a reward. So outside the festival, Chevy parked Corvettes and Camaros, which people could take a test drive. Now this was an important feature where the test drive was available to the audience to make. Now Chevy set up the Chevy Volt Recharge lounge, which allowed people to recharge their personal devices, and that's important. This was an easy way of users to recharge their laptops, cell phones, and iPods. Interesting, different. So in addition to Chevy, had pre-production models of both Chevy Cruze and Bolt as well. They applied the QR codes on the outside to both cars. When scanned, the code took about users to the website and that showed the features and benefits of the new cars as well. So these kind of link-ups held awareness that the end consumer can go and contact the website of the vehicle as well. The result of this campaign was 40 people completed the walking tour and 75 prizes were redeemed at the festival as well. Now Chevy has a second highest number of check-ins at the show at 730. Now there is a very interesting feature because the viewership has gone by this, and that's what the interesting point was. For the future, Chevy plans to commit 30% of its budget to the mobile marketing along with other social marketing tools as well is important. So here the company gets an opportunity to showcase the vehicle in such a way that becomes interesting. Great. Now we will discuss few cases which are recent. That means they are part of 2014-15 kind of marketing. So first is about content marketing. So in these cases we are looking at the recent case of 2014-15. First they say be beautiful. Now just the image says it all. If you see the two pictures bifurcated by the midline, if you see on the left hand side, the sign of beauty is represented in some certain way, on the right hand side of a main certain way. So it's about content marketing also. That means you need not only necessarily have a context about it, but also the content about it. What are you putting in across the segment? So very widely depicted through visuals. We call this through metaphors. Now metaphors primarily belong to figure of speech, but there are visual metaphors to it as well, demonstrating the same. The problem statement was there is no content strategy. There is a fragmented approach as well. Too much reliance on the paid media is what could be picked up. The objective was to play with the content marketing, and the strategy would be beauty attainable by women. It could be the website, FB, YouTube, blogger engagement. This is what the objective was. The results were there was 1.4 million visitors. That's huge site. There was 600k from social and YouTube, 50k subscribed to it. That was about it. Second, when we look at the recent things, was the influencing marketing of Philips India air fryer. Simple product, but you will find that how small things impact. Now these days there are a lot of programs on cookeries, on culinary kind of things. So when you are a player in the segment where you are selling utensils or mixers or cookers, this becomes important. So how to influence this market? The problem here was the low sales, and low sales was because the preconceived concept of being expensive, and 80% less oil and tasty was also the problem in a certain way. It was. The objective was to associate product with regular food. So the niche need to be removed as far as the pan was concerned, and the objective was the niche needs to be removed and said to the audience that this could be a part of your regular utensils. So awareness was there or need to be built up for consideration of the same. So strategy was where Chef Sanjay Tuma for 6 months was showing or highlighting or showcasing it of philipsfried-yet-light.com with references as well. So what are the results in this case? The results in this case was the average monthly search volume for keywords Philips air fryer jumped by 129%. 129% is huge. Now you might have a question that how does the search volume in the social website influence sales? You all know that this is part of engagement building or awareness building exercise. So if you're doing results of this case, the impact was seen over here was 266% sales jump in 2014. That was some size as such. Let's take some other example. The millennial marketing, Lenovo India, a brand less felt in India to start off. And if this is a scenario, how to go about it? Problem, reaching out to youth, because that was the handset market, especially the new handset market is driven in India by the youth. So if youth is what the target segment is, then they say in marketing we have mentioned that as a strategy, that if you want to impress or influence or persuade people, matching is one of the things that works well. They say that if you like each other, you like each other. I repeat, it says that if you are like each other, you like each other. That means if you want to deal with the youth, present the youth. And that's what they did. That means where the product launched, the celebrity clout, the strategy, 6 hours continuous bombarding, 6 social networks were used, where live fun and requests were done on social networks and media. So among the Kapoor families, yes, the youth icon in the Kapoor families was selected, picked up, where he could more resonate to youth all the more. And if this was the case, then the impact, if you see, was the maximum buzz on all networks for 24 hours. So when in 6 hours it was continuously bombarded, there was a lot of noise level for 24 hours. So spike on online fresh sales at Flipkart. So if you want to see a jump in sales, the Flipkart was one of the barometer where people saw an absolute jump in Flipkart sales, especially moving up across the board. Then we see the other one, that's the legend marketing. Now legend marketing, Garnier Men India. Now legends are also used in marketing. The problem for Garnier at one point of time was thousands of mobile oriented offers were there and problems with the IVR campaigns as well. Objective was to leverage on IPL teams, increasing online sales as well. So when IPL made it big across the country, the platform that was thought was, let's take this platform of IPL and take it from there. Although Rahul Dravid as a cricketer was never a style icon, neither more flashy about it, but the image of the persona of Rahul Dravid was of mature, of balance, of poise. And also, that is what Garnier want to showcase his image or post his image across the viewer was. It was to post it in such a fashion that becomes more easier, more relatable to the youth as well. Strategy, the Facebook missed call ad. That's interesting. The Flipkart integration at the other end of the spectrum, or also the GarnierMen.com was the tool used. Results, the total campaign reached 50 million. That means the customer need to give a missed call at a particular site. An increase in online sale, which was tracked down by Flipkart, was 250%. Now, when you say 250% is a huge size, that means a major chunk was coming from there. So, they say that focus on objective not on networks. Now, the biggest challenge or threat that might happen was, with so much of available kind of resources, the biggest threat is, maybe you will think that you need to network and connect well. But as a marketeer, we should never lose focus on what the objective is. So when we speak of few social media marketing tools, we'll look into few examples of social marketing tools being used as well in this context, and that's interesting. So we will get into social media marketing case study. We will again go through case only of by theory, examples, and results. So we will look at the case of the Social Times, which is the media blogger, and they have designed it in such a way that it makes the audience more accessible, more friendly, and it harnesses the viral power of social networks. There are various players in Social Times, in the social network as well, which use the viral factor of it to network to many people. Okay, so what does it happen then? Okay, so what we'll be talking out in the coming last around 15 minutes or so is, we'll be looking into the theory, case studies about the social networking, and what's new and interesting as well. One, the marketing concept in this case, the inbound marketing. When you speak of social marketeers or case studies related to social marketers, it needs to be understood that few are inbound, few are outbound. Just like in calls, there are few inbound calls, few outbound calls. Like just dial only take inbound calls. But for insurance, they are all outbound calls, means they need to call up the customers. For inbound calls, it could be a customer service, or it could be maybe Flipkart is an inbound call. So similarly, from an online medium, it could be inbound marketing, it could be warm marketing. Warm marketing we call more commonly as word of mouth marketing as recommendation, or as engagement marketing as CSRM. So how to get started in it? Number one is, let's take warm. Now, when we speak of warm marketing, over the years, the number one driver of our growth at Zappos has been repeat customers and word of mouth. Now, this is one of the products that they deliver, Zappos. Now, any marketer need to understand that yes, we have various marketing tools available, but warm or word of mouth has been more than 100-year kind of concept, but yet it's very powerful, because when through a word of mouth kind of publicity happens, people normally don't have filters, because if a hoarding, say for example, or if an advertisement on the print or on a TV commercial says that, the audience sometimes thinks, oh, they always will think in terms of the inherent kind of benefit that the company wants. But if it's a word of mouth, the benefit factor of the company is immediately taken out of place. That means people normally take the message directly in as well. So when this product is being highlighted as well, it's important to understand that warm is very important. Let's take an example. Now Dingo has 330 likes on Facebook and around 9,000 email subscriber list. They offer around $20 coupons for a like plus email address. That's around 5,000 max coupons is the upper limit on it. That's what Dingo does. Now Dingo is they give products for pets, especially the dogs. So if you are putting a like, you get a free gift coupon. So when this scheme was launched as a case, we'll find that Dingo ended up with around 6,000 likes and 14,000 emails. So the feedback is, it just took them 3 days. Now that's what the power of social network is. It just took 3 days. That monthly sales grew by 22%, out of which 45% of them were new customers. Very important to understand that lot of time this happens that if you want to hit and make it big as such, it becomes very fast as well. People are able to relate to it fast as well. So if you see from a Dingo perspective, you'll find that you did it in less than 3 days. The incredible promotion has come to a close. So they have kept the upper ceiling of 5,000 gift coupons. And as promised, that's also a promise being done on the email, which you'll find. As promised, we will provide a coupon to the people that provided the email addresses of their first 5,000 likes. The coupon will be sent in the next couple weeks. I will keep everyone posted. Thank you for your support and wonderful post. Now this also means that it shows responsibility as well of the organization, where once it is done, they are declaring it as this is closed and mentioning that okay, these are the people who have won it, and also these people will be in touch. So this is also part of social responsibility or corporate social responsibility by declaring that what's important to them as well. And even in this simple strategy, there will be a jump in sales as well. So when organizations are looking for some short-term sports as well, where short-term growths are there, a lot of time organization also goes through life cycles as an organization. So in this case, a small jump, a small movement is important. They say small movements make the big movements. It's important to understand this. Let's take some other example. Now when we say take some other example, let's take an example of Suma. Now when we speak of Suma, it is the next generation Suma, where it says that Yoshi says that there are so much of have Suma works. Now they have created a blog that if you see over here, there you lover keep your Gucci alive for 4 days and receive a 20% off Yoshi voucher for you as a buddy. Have fun. So if you are putting it across in a few days, they going to get few vouchers. So a sponsor story, for example, the Joe Miller second time today at Starbucks or the Amber Novak. So you'll find that a lot of things being done in this case. So that was about the warm. We will want to look into engagement marketing as well. When we say engagement marketing, what is this engagement marketing? Now engagement marketing, let's take an example of Facebook. Now the engagement process, if you see on the left hand side of chart, starts with an impression. Through an impression goes through unique visitor likes. repeat visits, retweets, repeat retweets, registers reaffirm positive sentiments, and trial purchase advocacy. Understand, as far as engagement is concerned, and the principle of marketing also remains that showcasing it one time doesn't help much. They say that if it's a Me Too kind of product that you're promoting, at least 50 to 60 times the customer needs to be revisiting it or to see it or to hear it. That's where the engagement comes into the picture. So when you see the customer engagement landscape, you see a social media monitoring or the social CRM, and the CRM systems. It could be the various Salesforce, it could be a Jive, it could be a Market Suite. Any of those use the tools for CRM. So for customer engagement CRM, it requires social, corporate responsibility, and the conventional one as well. This is one example of a personal tool of John Head's blog. Now, it's clearly mentioned in his blog on the left-hand side, disclaimer, mentioned that this is a personal web blog, and mentioned that the views on the left-hand side of the slide, you'll mention that the views and opinions expressed here represent his own and has nothing to do with that of the corporation. Now, John Holt is a Carnival Senior Cruise Director, but has clearly mentioned as a disclaimer that this is not done, and he has kind of marketed him in other things as well. These all things are important if you're in the field of marketing. So creating blogs also helps a lot. The integrated campaigns. Now, when you see the integrated campaign, what we do in integrated campaigns is when we have two different brands available, two different kind of brands, although they are coming to a same category, they can put it into one umbrella and still market it very effectively as well. So when we are saying integrated campaign, now this is what I was trying to show you. In an integrated campaign, it's about you squeeze in one by one. So you have the social blogs, you have some coupons as well, there are a few personal remarks as well, you have the AdWords coming through Google, you have tweets as well, you have personalized emails as well, you have person representing the brand as a brand ambassador and a legend as well. Now what happens is, when all these things are bombarded together through different channels, then person gets it clearly as well in a very refined way, and that's very important to understand. The new and interesting is the social media dashboards. When we speak of dashboards, it could be the Market Me suite. Now there are a lot of dashboards available even for if you're going to purchase a vehicle, a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. It could be for furniture. The dashboards or the spreadsheets are available. It could be through tweets, the Facebook Live. So there are lots of them available, or it could be through for your estate market. There are a lot of dashboards which a client or a consumer or a customer can refer to as well. Now, if you are a good marketer, you need to showcase or be present and alive on these dashboards as well, so that your visibility as a brand on the social platform is also very much there. The location marketing. When we say of location marketing, it's about checking this business on Facebook and get a special business. So here where we put in location marketing in the category as well to showcase where it's available as well. So you can, like for example, it's here, welcome to Ben & Jerry's ice cream and frozen yogurt. Now this could be tagged up and linked up to Facebook as well. Or it could be photo sharing, wherein show us the beautiful size of Italy or Natalia.